Namo Adida Phat. Thanks so much for joining me for our daily practice check-in. Listen, listen, listen. This wonderful sound calls us back to our true home. The second mindfulness training. Aware of the suffering caused by exploitation, social injustice, stealing, and oppression, I vow to cultivate loving kindness and learn ways to work for the well-being of people, animals, plants, and minerals. I will practice generosity by sharing my time, energy, and material resources with those who are in real need. I'm determined not to steal and not to possess anything that should belong to others. I will respect the property of others, but I will prevent others from profiting from human suffering or the suffering of other species on earth. For our Dharma lessons, we've been reading Abundant, Exalted, Immeasurable by Pasanno Bhikkhu. We're finishing up chapter 1 today, Refuges and Precepts. I remember the first year I was a monk. The evening meeting at the monastery where I was would be an hour sitting, an hour standing, and an hour walking, with some chanting at the beginning or end. That would be the evening meeting, an hour each. I remember when I first started, I thought, wow, great, they do standing meditation. Man, that's going to be good. My knees will kill me when I'm sitting. Then I realized that the pain just goes somewhere else. What bodies do is get uncomfortable. What is needed is to relax around the pain or the discomfort and cultivate kindness. There was one rains retreat I did when I had about 15 or 20 years as a monk, during which I did several months of lying down meditation. I had fractured my pelvis, so I wasn't doing anything else, but I was in very quiet, peaceful surroundings. I had lobbied the doctor, who was a supporter of the monastery, and he had sprung me out of the hospital and got me back to the monastery. I had said, whether I'm in the hospital or at the monastery, I'm going to be lying down anyway. I'll be a lot happier out at the monastery. We realize that what's important is the continuity of the awareness and the quality of attention that we pay to things. It's not getting a particular posture or technique down. The techniques and postures are essential, but they are tools. And it's how you use a tool that's important. During the week that we have here, pay attention. How am I holding the meditation? How am I holding the perception? How am I holding my body? How am I holding the things that are coming up in my own mind? How am I holding the perceptions that I have of the people around me? That's what is really important. The mind in a metta retreat can think, all those other people are peaceful. How come I'm not peaceful? Of course, everyone else is thinking the same thing. All these other people look like they're happy and kind. They're really getting into loving kindness. I'm obviously not getting it. We can take loving kindness as a theme, and then sometimes what comes up is how irritating the world is, but it doesn't really matter. How are we holding it? What is actually coming up in the mind, and how are we relating to it? How are we layering our experience? That's where the kindness is, having that sense of non-contention, letting go. This is what's coming up. Oh, that can be let go of. I don't have to contend with that. Back to the breath, back to the walking, back to the continuity of awareness. These are a few reflections to begin the retreat with. May all beings be well. May all beings be happy. May all beings be at peace. Namo Adida Phat. Thanks so much for joining me today.